Hello and welcome to the Third and Long podcast. It's been a great weekend of divisional football, supposedly the best weekend in football, but I think there may be some arguments about that this year. As always, I am here with Ollie Butler Henderson and Phil Perrins. Phil, how are you feeling after another quality 49ers victory?
Do you know what? This is a true story. This is a true story. In year 10, I'm teaching music videos at the moment. So we're looking at the ones that we're studying. So we watched American Idiot by Green Day. We watched Uptown Funk by Bruno Mars and Mark Ronson. But to finish the lesson, I put on Bailey's Who's Got It Better Than Us. And literally, I was just rapping. I literally was rapping the entire song. I'm buzzing. I'm still buzzing from this week. I really, really am. I'm so over the moon. We'll go on to when we talk about the Niners later, but across the whole, with maybe the exception of one game, really, really good football. Really, really good football.
I even think that one game wasn't a bad game. It was just one team was a lot better than the other team. One team stopped the other team's best players, and it's what you need to do in this sport is stop any sport, stop the other team's best players, and you'll be right.
And the game that you're thinking of is not the game that I'm thinking of.
I think I know the game you're thinking of. Anyway, should we jump straight into it with the Saturday night game?
Yeah.
Or the Saturday evening game?
Boom. That one there.
Jags Chiefs.
Oh.
I felt so
Jags
sorry.
Played that badly.
I felt so sorry for Jamal Agnew.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could see how destroyed it was, and it was good. Man management were going, right, next play, you're getting the ball straight away. And that's how 10-second memory, goldfish memory. I say to my kids when I'm coaching them, if you make a mistake, goldfish memory is gone. Otherwise, it plays on your minds, and that's what you need to do, and that's what they did. Right, okay, boom, next play, you've got the ball. Done. Thank you very much. And it's good man management from Doug Peterson and Trevor Lawrence as well.
They say in NFL you have to have a short memory.
Yeah, all day long.
Yeah.
All day long. Ted Lasso, goldfish memory.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it wasn't that bad. I mean, obviously, Mahomes going down was a massive factor in this game.
So
I genuinely expected almost like the Jags to get their Superman capes on once that happened, because if that was their moment to get a hand on the game in terms of let's get some Mahomes is gone for was he gone for a quarter and a half?
Yeah.
Because he was captain. I thought that would
and he's gone just like Phil.
I just generally thought the defensive step up. What can you hear me?
I said no, not really. I said this to Ollie before the show started. I'd start Henny next week. I actually would start Henny because I feel like the teams are on a par right now. All four teams are the best four teams in the league, in my opinion. So you need everyone at 100%, 101% to win the game. And having a player, even if it is Patrick Mahomes, at 60, 70, 80%, I think could be the difference between winning and losing.
Yeah, I mean, going to what Phil said, that moment, Mahomes is injured. You pin your ears back and you go. You go full pelt at him, right? Because he wasn't able to move around the pocket as he was. He wasn't able to extend plays as he normally does. And yet he was still able to make touchdown passes off 1 foot in jumping passes with half a leg hanging off.
What I'd have done is I'd have sent the house a lot more than the DC did.
Oh, all day long. But it's not their style of football, is it, really?
Well, you need to be adaptable. I'd have been sending six players, both linebackers, nearly every play. This guy is.
I'll be sending Josh Allen every play. Blitz. Yeah. You blitz.
Yeah. I'd have just.
better than the other Josh Allen.
I'd have probably just said to Josh Allen, right, rest of the game you're a defensive lineman.
Yeah.
5. Then you've got 5-on-5.
A Micah Parsons style role.
And Micah Parsons was everywhere last night.
He passes every
But
game.
you only got to Brock once. You only got to anyway. It doesn't matter. I said at the beginning of the season I fancied the Jags to get to the playoffs. They've got there. I think they've overachieved in many respects considering how they started. But this is a young team with a young quarterback who's already proven his mettle already. Like this season alone, he has come on leaps and bounds. And I mentioned in the group chat last night, but I don't know if you guys have had the chance to watch it. But when the game finished last night, he was one of the first players off of the pitch. He ran up the tunnel, because he wanted to congratulate every single player who played that game last night. All 52 of them, he literally shook, hugged, congratulated them. But that is a true, like, he's 23 or 24, 23?
Yeah, 23. Yeah.
And he's already proven to be elite leader. He wants this team. I think the Jags next year will push on. Maybe they get to the same place. Maybe they get to the AFC Championship. We don't know. It's really, really tight and competitive in the AFC. But Trevor Lawrence, wow. Such a young team, and he will only get better.
Have you seen the press conference?
No, I haven't.
Trevor Lawrence said this isn't the end, this is the start.
Yeah.
And I agree with that. I think the Jags will kick on and could be a proper force in the AFC next season.
I mean,
if they draft well and use free agency well.
I mean, what they referenced, especially during the Bills and the Bengals game, in particular, of the NFL for years, probably for the last 4 or 5 years, have pushed this narrative of Allen and Mahomes are going to be the new Manning and Brady. That's literally what them. And then you've got Burrow, who's pushing his narrative into it and going, well, don't forget me, it's making a trio. But I don't see any reason why Lawrence doesn't make it a quad, where the AFC is just every single year, the divisional round is between Lawrence, Burrow, Allen, Mahomes. I can't see another QB in that list that's going to really push into that bracket.
I think if Burrows wins this game on Sunday, then they need to be classed higher than KC and higher than Buffalo, and they need to be the team in the AFC. But just going through the AFC quarterbacks in my head now, I also can't think of one unless you want to include Mac Jones in that, Ollie.
As of yet, all honestly, after last season, no. I would put him in that same bracket as like Justin Herbert, that kind of bracket who's got the potential, the capabilities to be able to go another level, but he's in the wrong franchise to do it.
I'm sorry, but I don't think Mac Jones is in the same level as Tua and Justin Herbert. I think he's a level below that in the Jimmy Garoppolo, Derek Carr game manager level.
I can see where you're coming from. I flip and flop with Mac Jones. I don't know whether or not we know his ceiling yet, because let's be honest, he's only in his second year. So we give him another 2 more years so we really know Mac's ceiling as an NFL quarterback. Post-season ending, and I don't want to turn this too much and talking about like the Patriots because we want to talk about the other NFL games this weekend. But can we really count this year as his progression when he hasn't had anybody to help his progression? So I think next year the onus will be more on Mac than say this year. Don't forget he's had injuries as well, because he didn't start last season and he's been in and out of the lineup this season for injuries. So I think we need to give Mac a pass this year, like in terms of just let's move on, let's reevaluate, let's see where he goes next year. But I would maybe say Mac at this moment in time, if you're going to like A level, B level, C level, the quarterbacks, he's in between that upper echelon of C, bottom echelon of B. That's how I would see Mac at the moment. And that's me being kind.
I'd put that after last season. All day long. But yeah, I mean, going back to Trevor Lawrence, he has shown that he is not only a very good quarterback, but he's a very, very humble, very, very down-to-earth, really nice gentleman.
I mean, I know all this aside, the Jags played incredible, but we need to give a bit of credit to KC. Patrick Mahomes on 1 foot put the Chiefs on his back and went and won this game.
Yeah.
Not only that, but Chad Henne drove for 98 yards to win that for a touchdown drive.
Yeah, Chad Henne played very well. And as I said
you can't
before,
take away from any of them.
I would start Henne in the game on Sunday.
Yeah, you would need 100% quarterback, wouldn't you? And he shows his capabilities. I mean, you're going up against a very, very good Cincinnati offense or defense in that team, but yeah. There was, you've got to give it to Jacksonville. They took like Kansas all the way. There was a couple, Kirk dropped a couple. Obviously, there's the Agnew drop, the interception.
Yeah.
But
the Agnew fumble, you mean?
Yeah, the fumble. Sorry.
Yeah.
They were there and they made Kansas fight for it.
Yeah.
A fully fit Mahomes, would that be the same case? No one knows. But they were there. And as you said, they are going to be a playoff team for the next 4 or 5 years at least. They've got Trevor Lawrence in his rookie deal for another 3 years.
So just going back to the injury, during the Bills, whichever game Romo was on, I think he was on the Bills-Bengals game, Romo was talking about a high ankle sprain.
Yeah.
And Romo was like, I've had this. He'd probably be, he said he'd probably be on crutches till about Wednesday, and he will not be 100% next weekend. And then, literally, like as soon as that had left Romo's mouth, out came the Chiefs with, "Oh, Patrick Mahomes is feeling better than we thought he would."
Yeah.
But it shows Mahomes what the kind of player he was. Is him and Josh Allen, and I put them in the same bracket of arrogance, needs to have the team on their back kind of thing, because he wanted to get back in that game. He was so angry when he was told, "No, you're going to the locker room." He threw his helmet down. He threw his jacket off.
He sprinted down that tunnel.
Yeah, and to be fair, when he sprinted, I didn't see a limp. No. To be fair. But all it takes is a D lineman, a DB, a linebacker to come in and hit him just slightly wrong, and he's done for the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, fair play to Andy Reid for managing that really well.
Yes. Do you know what Andy needs to manage a bit better?
Go on.
Clock?
That guy that's drawing the mustaches on the players when they're falling asleep. He needs to sort that out.
Oh, what's that on? State Farm advert.
State Farm advert, yeah.
Yeah, I love that one. Love that one. Let's roll on to blowout number 1.
The fourth most.
We just. Yeah.
But the fourth most blowout, fourth most lopsided game in the first half in playoff history, I believe.
Yeah.
It's also the biggest divisional win by divisional round game by divisional rivals in the NFL history since 1970, I think it is. But it's Eagles took away Giants' best aspects.
Yeah.
The run game.
I was there, like, come on, Giants, please beat the Eagles. Come to Santa Clara next week. Come to Santa Clara next week. And it just didn't happen.
It's warmer weather. It's a nicer field. You'll get your arse handed to you by the defense. Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually, because like I said that I fancied the Giants to not outplay the Eagles, but it was just one of those where I just thought, imagine if like the Giants just like on an off day get the Eagles on an off day. That'd be the scenes. But I'm actually more devastated that they had such a good season, like such a good turnaround season of being poor for so long, and they play well. They get into the divisional round, and then they just absolutely get blown away by the Eagles. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Eagles are legit. Like, I'm not overly looking forward to next weekend, but to go out like that is just embarrassing.
Does this dent Dable's campaign for Coach of the Year?
No,
because it's voted on regular season, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but can you get rid of? I mean, have the votes already gone in?
Yeah, because they're going to get announced Super Bowl weekend.
Yeah, I'm just wondering.
Or Pro Bowl weekend, yeah.
Like, if you're voting now, can you get rid of this out of your head? Of them playing awfully, and I don't even think the
I see your
Eagles played
point.
that well. I just think that the Giants were really, really poor.
They took
Yeah.
away Giants' best aspects, which they stopped Barkley from going over 100
Yeah.
yards. They stopped Dan Jones from running, who always had 50,
Breeder
60
as well.
yards. Even
Breeder
more.
got 4 carries for
Breeder-
23 yards.
They stopped the run game, and that
Yeah.
run game effectively opens up the Giants' passing game.
The entire Giants offense is basically free agent next year.
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah.
They need so. I thought it was interesting when when both Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley were both asked about playing for the Giants next season. Barkley seemed a lot more hard set on it than Jones.
Jones, well, they have said they want Jones for next year, and
Yeah.
they've said to both of them, we want both of them for next year. It is
Well,
what they want.
Barkley was I can't imagine playing anywhere else. And Jones was very, well, if there's a business decision, if it's a business decision and the finances are right, then I guess I'll come back, sort of thing.
I mean, I can kind of see why. I mean, we've mentioned, the last couple of weeks when we talked about the quarterback market is going to be extremely intense in this offseason, more so than in previous years, because you've got a lot of big names that are even going to be traded, free agents, and so on and so forth. Dan Jones has had a really, really good season off of the back where at the beginning we all thought he was going to be a write-off. I mean, NFL analysts wrote him off as this is his last year in New York. He hasn't had a particularly great start to his NFL career in New York. It's only been this season under a new kind of like managerial structure that he's actually been able to show some of his kind of like signs. So he's coming into the off season looking for that first big contract of his career. And who's to say that the Giants don't offer him the same amount or the same opportunities as, say, Vegas or the Titans or Colts or Saints? There's going to be other teams. Falcons, there are going to be other teams that are going to be looking for a quarterback. So that's maybe he's not going to put all his chips in one basket, whilst Barkley is very much encompassed in that New York Giants kind of like mantra. It's a run game organization. It always has been. He's more or less settled. Dan Jones, no offense, he should be looking to play the market.
No, I think Barkley, if I were the Giants, I think Barkley is a more integral part of the offense than Jones.
Yeah. Yes, 100%.
Just because at the moment, very good running backs are more of a premium than, like, a Barkley level running back is more of a premium than a Jones level quarterback.
Yeah.
See, there's two what I would call top class running backs hitting free agency. One in Las Vegas,
Josh
one in
Jacobs
New
and
York.
Saquon Barkley.
Yes. Yeah, those two.
And
one is going to get paid.
Dan Jones, that was his career year. He just rolled off.
Yeah. I mean, how long's he been in the NFL? Is it 4 years?
4 seasons.
4 years.
4 years. So I mean, it's only been these first 3 not particularly great. Last year, epically bad. This year, he's been good.
4 seasons and is only remembered for tripping over flat ground on the 5-yard line.
Yeah. So that's
and do a QB sneak on 3rd and 9.
Yeah, but that was that was a call by Judge, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, you could still go on that play. Don't be a dick.
I always say it takes skill to trip over flat ground.
Yeah, it's.
Whenever I think of that,
isn't
it always reminds me of the scene in Shark Tale where the main character puts all that money on the seahorse at the races and and then it trips over underwater.
That's a scene from The Simpsons as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
With the dog races and Homer puts all his money on one dog, yeah. I mean, New York have done incredibly well to get to the playoffs. No one thought that Dable was going to do this magic to get them there.
Agreed.
Eagles, as you said, did play well. Were playing within themselves. Jalen Hurts still doesn't look 100% yet, but he's another week for rehab going on. There's more work for Jalen Hurts to go on. Gainwell had a game and a half.
I was about to say, I just want to give a shout out to Kenneth Gainwell, 2 touchdowns, 112 yards. And he's not even, Sanders is still the number 1 back at this point.
Sanders had 1,000-yard rushing.
Yeah.
But give New York their due. They kept AJ Brown and they kept Devontae Smith reasonably quiet.
I mean, 61 yards, 2 touchdowns. Is that quiet?
1 touchdown, AJ. Devontae Smith. Well, he kept them under 100 yards between the two of them.
Yeah, I know, but I'm looking in the touchdown column.
Yes, 2. Yeah, Dallas Goddard was the other one, was the other TD, and that was a grab and a half, one-handed.
Yeah, but I mean, Devontae Smith. I mean, if we want to talk about touchdown catches, tight end catches. Let's wait until we get to San Francisco. But
that was a good juggling act. But Dallas Goddard one-handed out of it. That was. If we're doing catch of the weeks this season or this week, that would be my catch of the week. Yeah, because it was a brilliant catch. Where do the Giants go from here? You know, the AFC East. If the AFC goes on to what they go next year, I mean, we'll talk about the other team in a minute that made the playoffs. It is getting stronger each season. Washington were near enough in the playoffs. Philadelphia were the number 1 seeds. And their head coach going to whoever it was, I know what the fuck I'm doing, was brilliant.
I know what the F I'm doing. I can be down here.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
So you asked where the Giants go from here. This is just their cap room isn't great at the moment. So do they call up Arizona or Seattle or Detroit and go, hello, we want your pick, and take a Stroud or a Young or a Levis?
I don't think they'll do that.
No.
Build that offensive. I'm an advocate for saying go for wideouts, go for tight ends, go for skill players, give them 2 or 3 years in the league, and then put a quarterback in. They've got this quarterback here already. Hodgkins has shown over the last 8-9 weeks he's a good quarterback, a good wide receiver. Richie James is a serviceable wide receiver.
But their star wide receiver is also hitting free agency in Sterling Shepard. Sterling Shepard.
Yeah, but he's hardly featured, so let him go.
Well, whoever's been getting all their yards this season, I think it's Shepard, or it might be Slayton, is hitting free agency.
I can't remember who it is off the top of my head.
Potentially both of them, but whoever's been getting all their yards this year, especially later in the season, is hitting free agency this year. I get Shepard and Slayton confused because they're both beginning with an S.
Slayton is leading receiving yards.
Yeah, so I think it's Slayton hitting free agency.
Then it's Richie James, and then it's Isaiah Hodgkins. Isaiah Hodgkins is third. He played.
I just like to clarify. You said Richie James is a serviceable receiver.
Yeah.
I think Richie James is a good receiver.
New York have got the same issue that New England have. No WR1. Loads of WR2s, WR3s, but no WR1. That's what they need.
There's just a question. And his name's evading me. But who's that wide receiver in New York that doesn't get played and is probably on a lot of money?
Kenny Golladay.
Golladay.
If they cut Golladay, could that free up a lot of cap space?
Yes.
Yeah, I can see that.
Well, he only signed a 2-year deal anyway, so I think he's hitting free agency anyway.
Okay. Well, that might free up some cap space.
Let's just bring up Sport Tech and have a look at our free agency track. But yeah, I mean, that's where they need to go. That's where they need to go now and go from there and move forward as my son hits. Right, let's roll on to the snow game. Snowball.
Is this the game you were talking about that you thought was bad, Phil?
Yes. This is probably my most disappointing game of the weekend. I mean, more so than the blowout of the Eagles and the Giants, because if anything, it just proved that the Eagles are a really good team and the Giants were not prepared for this. This was billed as, I mean, I'd argue more than the Cowboys-Niners game. This was billed as like the biggest game of this weekend, where you've got, Burrow versus Allen. You got like the two top-tier quarterbacks who, again, are going to be the faces of, the alleged faces of the NFL for the next decade and a bit. I was bitterly disappointed in Josh Allen, like massively.
Oh, he was so poor.
Josh Allen. I mean, Bills, Buffalo in January at home, winter, snow, Cincinnati, are the team coming in, everything riding off of the back of what happened with Damar Hamlin a couple of weeks ago. This was a grudge game without really being a grudge game because of how that end of that last game resulted in. But like that first drive, as soon as Burrow scored on that first drive, I turned to my wife and went, Bengals are going to run away with us. Like they actually did. Like the Bills did not stop, and I think this is because they've lost Von Miller and they've lost a load in their secondary. So, I really really understand where they're coming from here, but at no point did it ever look like the Bills were going to stop them on offense and be able to do anything on defense. Like that's genuinely it. I mean, Burrow could have played that game with a blindfold. He was never getting pressured.
Up until Thanksgiving, they were in the top 5 of rushing the passer. And since Thanksgiving, when Von Miller went out, they've been 27th.
Yeah.
They've fired up a stat on Sky saying that whenever Joe Burrow has been sacked more than 4 times, they've lost the game. And they got to him, they touched him twice.
Yeah.
Sacked him once.
I think I read something like they had 0 QB pressures in the first half.
Yeah. I mean, it was ridiculous. I mean, they had all the time in the world. But before I go into Stephon Diggs, obviously we saw Damar Hamlin in the stands.
Yeah, that was great to see.
The hard side and waving.
I mean, it was quite hard to see because you had to look through the snow.
The snow.
But it was great to see him back in stadium.
It was absolutely brilliant. I love that. But since just before Christmas, Buffalo had a lot of emotional stuff to deal with.
Yes.
Christmas, they've had to have the players been on the game for Christmas. Obviously, the Damar Hamlin, and then euphoria of the week after, like him safe and all that. Do you think all the emotion of this season has literally just worn them right out, and they had nothing left in the tank? Because that's what they looked like. They had nothing left in the tank at all.
Yeah, I mean that there just shows a team that has limits. When I said to you last night, I in my tired state, Ollie, when I messaged you saying the window of this team in terms of a championship is closing. Like that door is closing. There's a lot of players that are going to be looking for a lot of money, in terms of to stay onto that team. And if you've proven the last couple of years that you can't get to that championship game with this team, then I mean, the sensible thing is to reevaluate, take a hit for 1 or 2 seasons, and then put those puzzle pieces back together. Because the Bengals just ran over them. Like they ran over them, and this is, I mean, Josh Allen threw for further than from Joe Burrow, but Joe Burrow had 2 touchdowns. Yeah, Burrow had 2 touchdowns, and all Josh Allen had to prove was 1 interception.
Yes, but I think the changing factor is look at the leading rushers for Bengals. Mixon, 20 carries, 105 yards and a touchdown. Bills, Josh Allen, 8 carries, 26 yards, 1 touchdown. There's a 99-yard difference there.
But Josh Allen is supposed to be Superman, like you said himself. That the arrogance of certain quarterbacks that have to carry their team on their back. I mean, this is Josh Allen's team.
I feel like what you were saying about the Super Bowl door closing. I think with Josh Allen is similar to John Elway.
Go on.
In the way that he's quite inconsistent. But if you have that quarterback, your Super Bowl window's open.
I see where you're coming from, but you can make the same. I was about to say you can make the same argument with Dak, but we'll come on to that in a little bit. But yeah, I mean, yeah, Josh. So basically, are you saying that we're not going to see Josh Allen win a Super Bowl until he's 38? when he's broken down and he has to rely on other people to do the work for
No,
him.
what I'm saying is, Josh Allen can win multiple games effectively on his own, and that means that if he can put together a lot of good games on a run, then I feel like their Super Bowl window's open. And I feel like if they can develop a running game and a pass rush over this off-season through trades, free agency, and drafting, they could be a force to be reckoned with next season.
All right, so off the back of that, and it'll probably link into the next game anyway. A little-known player that you might have heard of, Steve Young, and he said,
I don't think you mentioned him before, have you?
I don't think I've ever mentioned Steve Young. So
here we go again.
Steve Young said, and again, only because I've been listening to his book. Steve Young said about like that 94 winning season, because the 2 previous seasons he'd won MVP, he had passing titles. The 49ers had a winning record, were favorites for the Super Bowl. But that ultimately meant nothing until he won a championship. So Josh Allen can have his passing titles, he can have his rushing yards, he could have the Bills into the championship game for multiple years in a row, he can be MVP, but until he holds that Super Bowl trophy, that ultimately means nothing. Because I mean, in our sport that we love and watch every weekend during the winter and autumn months, we count championships, and that's what matters. And the Bills are supposed to be a Super Bowl team. They were a Super Bowl team last year, they were a Super Bowl team this year, and they fell not even at the final hurdle, they fell before the final hurdle both times. So
Yep.
I think I'm not writing Josh Allen off, because he is a really, really infinitely talented quarterback, and he's still massively young, and he's got like 10, 15 years left of his career. But this is where the Bills currently sit.
So two questions for you. Is this season a failure for Buffalo?
Yes.
Yes.
Considering what we all said at the beginning of the season, where we fancied them to get to the Super Bowl.
Was last season a failure for Buffalo?
Yes.
No, I don't think it was.
Ooh.
If it's been 2 failure seasons, does McDermott have to go?
You said this last night as well. You said this last night?
I didn't say this last night.
No.
Oh,
I personally don't think you can count last night or last year as a failure. You know, they were still getting there. You know, that was Allen's 3rd year? 4th year? 3rd year? Third year. You know, they went into Arrowhead and went toe to toe with the number 1 team in the AFC.
But they also
fell.
They were 12 seconds from winning.
They fell. Yeah, 12 seconds away from winning. They were minimal. They were that close. So if I was a team that hasn't been anywhere near the Super Bowl since 1980 something. I can't remember what it was now off the top of my head. I think it's 27 years, so 85 rough maths. And that's the closest they've come in 20 odd years. You know, but that close to beating what was at that time the best team in the league, I wouldn't count that as a failure. I would say, yeah, okay, we got beaten out. We need to improve a little bit. There is things they still need to prove. You know, the secondary, like you said last night, the secondary was absolutely battered. You know, they lost two defensive backs in one play.
Yeah, that was a bad play.
Jordan Poyer and
that was really
I can't. He wore 27. I can't think of his name.
Was it Milano? It wasn't Milano.
Xavier's White. No, it was White.
Yeah. But my question still poses: if does McDermott need to go?
No.
This is Josh Allen's 5th year in the NFL.
Okay.
And I think McDermott is a very, very good head coach, and he is getting it right. And he will figure it out for next season. They will not make the same mistakes this season.
Okay, but if they don't make the championship game next season, I think it's McDermott's time.
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
This is a Super Bowl caliber team.
Do they have a lot of players out of contract or that are in need for big extensions?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
So they're going free agency. They've got Jordan Poyer. Big. They've got a few of their right tackles going out. Some of they got quite a few linemen going out, offensive linemen going out.
Oh, well, that's your protection for Alan gone. Don't forget, if I don't know how much we want to look into it, Diggs properly kicking off last night as well. Because
Yeah,
he
I
left.
was I was about to go into that next.
But
Yeah.
just before we go into Diggs, I would like to say the one Buffalo player that I did think had a good game, and this guy is, I know he made the Pro Bowl and I think he made first team All Pro, but I don't feel like he gets talked enough. Is Matt Milano?
Oh, Matt Milano has had second half of this season has been brilliant. I'm really looking forward to him going into Tottenham next year and watching him. That's going to be watching him absolutely brilliantly. Yeah, he's made that secondary, that lineman, that linebacker crew. It's him now.
I don't know much about this Diggs situation. I've read it, but I'll let you
yeah.
guys.
So I mean, I've dipped in and out. I mean, throughout school today when I've had a wee bit of time. But for those who don't know, Bills wide receiver Stephon Diggs darted out the locker room with all of his stuff before some of the Bills coaches were even down to the tunnel area. Practice squad running back Duke Johnson stopped Diggs before he left the stadium and brought him back to the locker room. He left a few minutes after that. Bills organization are keeping it very, very hush hush. Nothing concrete is coming out at the moment. But again, is this an example of show me a picture of a good loser and I'll show you a loser, or is it him just going, what do I have to do? Like, what am I doing in Buffalo? My window's closing.
Well, there was two very interesting things that I remember from Diggs last night. There was one that, yes, it was a 10-yard completion, so he made the first down. And he caught it, and he was on the ground, and he caught it. And he turned around and went to Josh Allen and pointing it up, saying he wants the ball up in the air, to give him that chance to grab it and carry on going, to make the extra yardage. And you could see him, when Josh Allen got intercepted at the end, he was going, what are you doing? He was fairly having a go at Josh Allen.
Yeah.
And these two are meant to be really, really good mates. Meant to be really, really good friends. And like Josh Allen, like when he came over, he said, like, come and stay with me for a bit until you got yourself sorted. I think it is Stephon Diggs going, look, I've been in this league 8-9 years. I don't think I've got much more time left in this league. Wide receivers.
Think about it. Last year, I mean, in April this year, so before, he did sign a 6-year extension till the end of the 2026 season, I think. So he's still got a few years.
Yeah, those are guaranteed years in terms of I've got a contract for this amount of money either in Buffalo or somewhere else.
Yes.
He's 29.
Yeah.
By the time he's just turned 29. He's turned 29 in November. He's probably got 3 years left of a good, what you would probably maybe 2 years left as a WR1, getting WR1 money.
Yeah.
He's seeing that window of opportunity closing.
I mean, don't forget, this is a guy that was playing in a Kirk Cousins offense, okay, with a head coach of Mike Zimmer. So he knows that he's already wasted a good early part of his career. He doesn't want to do this now.
I don't think he played with Kirk.
You sure?
Did.
Well, if you think
I was going to say, he definitely did.
Well, the player I remember is
he had at least 2 seasons with Kirk.
The season I remember is the Minneapolis Miracle, and that was Case Keenum.
I mean, so Kirk's been in Minnesota since
afterwards.
2018, so he's
been just one season with Kirk.
Yeah, but like I said, he played with Kirk Cousins.
Two seasons. 18 and 19 he was with Kirk.
And then I think I might be completely wrong here, but he might have had his quarterback might have been Teddy Bridgewater.
He had Case Keenum for a season.
Well, there we go. So he's literally has wasted a lot of his career with middling, mediocre journeyman quarterbacks. So he's got Josh Allen, who, again, we're believing in the hype. He is the guy, especially in Buffalo. This is his team, and I just feel, I just feel like when he needed to, Josh Allen didn't step up. And when we go into the next game, we'll talk about quarterbacks that didn't step up that ultimately will be blamed for their team's loss. I don't think Allen is the reason for why the Bills lost that game, but he contributed to that offense doing nothing, nada.
There was a lot of factors in that game, and I think it shows on their stats. I mean, they ran for 70 yards, I think it was, for the whole team. and Josh Allen led it. Yeah, 63 yards, and Josh Allen left 26. Singletary is a good running back. Cook will be a good running back, but they don't have that big power back like Zeke was when he came into the league. Like, I can't think. Begins with P. His surname.
Pacheco.
No, shut up. No, Washington legend. Patterson.
Oh,
Was it Patterson?
I don't think it was
No?
Patterson.
Stat running leader. Oh, what's his leader? Yeah, one of the best rushers in the league. Oh my god! I can't think of his name.
Peterson. Patrick Peterson. No, Patrick Peterson.
Yes.
Adrian
Patrick
Peterson.
Peterson.
Adrian Peterson.
Adrian Peterson. Yes.
Oh, from Vikings.
Yeah, they don't have that kind of running back, and that's what stuff. It's You know, you've got McCaffrey, who is a brilliant running back. We had James White, who was.
You're so high on James White. He was such a mid running back.
But he's one of the best receiving backs in the league.
Yeah, but he was such a mid running back.
3 Super Bowl rings.
He wasn't that bad, Ollie.
Yeah, like, he wasn't that bad, but he wasn't that good. Ollie puts it. He
was a system running back, and that system won 3 Super Bowls.
Ollie just put him in the same sentence as Adrian Peterson and Christian McCaffrey.
Who have neither have won a Super Bowl? Sorry, I'll shut up, Ali. Sorry. Can
I finish what I was going to say?
Sorry, Ali, I am defending you, by the way.
They don't have. Yes, thank you very much. But they don't have that. They haven't got a receiving back. They haven't got a power back. They've got 2 good running backs who will get you that yardage if they're in open space. But if they're going to get hit, they're going to get stopped. Like, I'd rather have Delvin Cook than James Cook in that Buffalo offense.
2 things. Number 1, just going on to that, Tom actually texted me the other day telling me that he's hearing rumors of Delvin Cook being traded, but that's not one of my 2 things. Number 1, I don't know why they traded away Zach Moss. And number 2, they do have a receiving back in Naeem Hines, and they just don't use it.
They do, as a kick returner.
Yeah, but they should be using him as a running back, in my opinion.
Right. Go on then, you two.
Actually, no. Before we go into this, right? Before we have a little talk about like the Cowboys and Niners, Mr. Butler Henderson, could you just start talking about the foot? Like, what did you take from this game, being a neutral?
The half that I've managed to watch and not fall asleep.
Just before you start, have you spoken to your team leader today?
No, he's been very quiet today. Funny that.
Did
going, how are you feeling?
Did you decide who you wanted to lose more?
I just wanted football, to win.
Eddie Jones answer.
I think, personally, I watched Game of 40 earlier on. I think you were lucky to go up at halftime or be within the finish, close at halftime.
I mean, we were 9-6 up at halftime.
I don't think you should be 9-6. I think Dallas were in the first half looked the better team.
Our offense was very stagnant in the first half. I thought we didn't have much of it. I mean, I think we stuck with the running game too much in the first half.
Yeah, but they stopped you. They stopped.
That's my point.
Yes, McCaffrey got a touchdown. Your leading rusher was 51 yards with Elijah Mitchell.
That's my point. I think we stuck with the running game too much.
I'm going to talk about Dak in a bit because I think we've all got something to say about Dak. Last year against you in the divisional round, they ran with 12 seconds to go, went for quarterback draw. This time, the last play of the game, they drawn up the most stupidest play calling ever. Let's have Zeke snap the ball and throw it 10 yards to your smallest receiver who's going to get absolutely popped as soon as he gets the ball.
When there were 3 linemen who, for some reason, lined up as wide receiver on the other side. Have you seen what McCarthy had to say about that play?
No, what did he say? He
got asked about it, and he basically said, "That wasn't supposed to happen. I don't want to talk about it." That's me paraphrasing, but that's basically what he said.
But So, but this is two division. Again, this is not me bashing the Cowboys because I'm going to be very, very abject with this and not bringing my love for us. This is two divisional games in a row, two consecutive
The first
years.
one was a wild card game.
Oh, was it wild card? Apologies. So these are two playoff games in a row where he's gone up against the 49ers and the 49ers defense, and he's blown it with the last play of the game twice. Like, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice. Jesus Christ, what am I doing? There were many contributing factors to the game yesterday. I have noticed in the last couple of games, especially the playoff games, I should say, Brock and the offense has been very conservative, and I really hope this isn't conservative Kyle coming into this, because the Cowboys' run defense is pretty good. Like, to stop that run defense. So us trying to play the run game makes no sense. It makes perfect sense to play up against the Eagles next weekend because their run defense is one of the worst in the league. I think they're 24th in terms of stopping the run. So that makes perfect sense to throw Mitchell and McCaffrey and like Debo all at them, because the Eagles have not been able to stop it all year. But the secondary for Dallas is where they were massively weak anyway. So when we played the ball to Kittle, when we got the ball to Ayuk, when we got it to Juwan, even like McCaffrey with some of the pass plays, that's when we looked effectively really solid. I've got to give massive props to Fred Warner and the defense and D'Amico Ryans, because the adjustments that were made stopped Dallas from doing anything. I mean, I think a good reason for why the Cowboys lost is because of Dak Prescott and Dak Prescott throwing 2 interceptions. Like, genuinely, I think he is the reason why they lost.
Just talk about D'Amico, as you mentioned
Yeah.
him. He was meant to have 4 head coach interviews on Friday.
He cancelled them.
He cancelled 2 of them.
Yeah.
He did 2 of them, and then he cancelled on the Cardinals and cancelled on the Colts.
Now, the one that was supposed to be on Sunday, that was a false alarm, wasn't it? That never happened. That was someone spreading lies.
He had 4 on Friday, and he only did 2 of them. I thought, has the rule changed? Because I'm sure when we got Shanahan as head coach, we weren't allowed to talk to him until they were out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, because when Raiders wanted Josh McDaniels, they weren't allowed to speak to him until we lost to the Bills.
Has that rule changed?
It shouldn't have.
Because D'Amico Ryan shouldn't be doing interviews, in my opinion.
No, I don't think they should, because especially you need to concentrate on the team at hand. Going back to that last play calling, is it on Mike McCaffrey or is it on Kalen Mond, who has head coaching interviews coming up? If it's Kalen Mond, he needs a slap.
Head coach.
Yeah.
It's a head.
Don't forget, this is the head coach that was flexing on Hard Knocks in front of his entire team about him winning the Super Bowl with the Packers previously. That's him. That's his mindset. I think McCarthy is me, and when it goes wrong, it's not me. It's someone else's problem. He just always strikes me as, I don't want to say egomaniac because I don't think that's fair, but he's one of those. I think he's like the Steve Bruce of NFL coaches. When it all goes well, it's me and it's me alone who's done everything, and there's no such thing as developmental coaching. But when it's all wrong, it's everybody else's fault other than him.
So like a true Newcastle fan.
Oh, but I lived it. I saw it every weekend for 3 years. I wasn't that impressed with Dallas. I mean, I thought Micah Parsons played really well, but we stopped Zeke. CeeDee Lamb had his moments. Like, there was nothing. I mean, we didn't play well. So before I get on the bandwagon of woo 49ers quest for 6, woo, I didn't think we played that well. I think we had flashes of excellence on the offense, like George Kittle's catches, plural. CMC playing really well, getting his touchdown. I thought Brock looked better in the second half as opposed to the first half. But again, even though he didn't play well, he still didn't throw any picks whatsoever. He was still. There was one instance where he avoided a sack, and instead of getting a sack, he just threw it out of bounds. Like, it was just really good mature play from a lad that's 23, 22.
Is that the one that Kittle was talking about, going,
not that.
I had to go to him going, calm down, just calm down, take a breath.
Let's not talk about that play with 1 second to go. But I do want to talk about something. And first off, I want to say I don't wish an injury on anyone, and I hope that Tony Pollard recovers. But I do think it's a little bit ironic.
Don't you think?
Yeah, in the way that in the week, a Cowboys radio show, when talking about Christian McCaffrey, said we could do with an injury. And then the Cowboys running back is the one who got injured.
I mean, there was
it's a
also
bit of
quite
a
a lot of
crap
stuff.
one.
Did you see what the Vegas vendor said about sports betting
We
and how it
don't
wouldn't
want
be?
we don't want the Niners to win the Super
Yeah, it
Bowl.
wouldn't be good. It wouldn't be good money if the 49ers won the Super Bowl because they'd lose a ton because they bet heavily against the 49ers when Garoppolo went down. So as soon as I heard that going, oh, there's going to be some form of like fix. Like in my head now, this Sunday coming and even the Super Bowl after, I'm just going to be thinking at some point they're going to try and fix the 49ers and it's going to be so blatant, but the NFL officials are going to do nothing.
See, there's we're in game 8 of Brock's career now. This guy's ceiling is unknown. This kid has had flashes of brilliance, flashes of like this kid's going to be something in this league, and then he's had so many plays when he goes back on himself. Is like, what the heck are you doing, lad?
Yeah, he seems to like
You're gonna put someone in danger. You're gonna put yourself in hospital because you got 3 D linemen running at you at the same time. You're gonna get hurt. It's gonna come an experience with that one. Yes, that's gonna come. But as I said on the group chat earlier on, you put someone in the team with leaders like Kittle, Debo, Fred Warner on defensive side, throwing the ball. You've got someone who's going, right, calm down, relax, just play your game. Don't do anything stupid. You could even put Zach Wilson in that offense, and he would do okay.
Just talking about the last play before the field goal, he had 7 seconds to throw that ball out of bounds. And he stopped the clock with 1 second to go. All he needed to do was throw it into the bleachers. But for some reason, he looked left and then turned to the right before throwing it.
Yeah.
Which didn't make sense to me.
He will be the reason I think you'll lose the Eagles because of plays like that.
You told me in the pre-show that you thought we'd beat the Eagles.
I do think you'll beat the Eagles, but I think if you lose the Eagles, he'll be the reason because he does something a little bit silly. He'll do something silly like something that, when Tom Brady took over, because he's been compared to Tom Brady and I have the same kind of story and all that, injuries, blah, blah, blah. When Tom Brady took over, he had 12, 13 games going to Super Bowl. He also had a season sat behind Drew Bledsoe. This guy has had no season sitting behind anyone.
Yeah.
He's had 8 games playing, 7 starting. Yes, he's unbeaten starting, but you could, like I said, you could plug Zach Wilson, put anyone in that offense and QB, and they would still win games.
Okay, can I talk about
but because he is so raw, and because he has no one to really sit with him, talk to him, and go through things, he will make those mistakes. And that isn't me going, Brock is nothing, blah, blah, blah. This is me going, this guy, lad's a rookie. He is going to make rookie mistakes because that's what rookies do.
I 100% agree with you, Ollie. I really, really do. And I'm waiting for that mistake to happen because it will. It's inevitable. It's every game I'm expecting it to blow up. What I will say, what Brock has that, say, Tom Brady didn't have, and I genuinely mean this isn't like me just bigging up the 49ers, but I think Brock has around him such an elite core group of athletes that the pressure's not all on. He's got George Kittle mentoring. He's got Debo. He's got Ayuk. He's got Jawan. He's got McCaffrey. He's got Trent Williams. He on offense, looking after him. Your left tackle is probably your most important player. It's your insurance. He's got these elite players that he can rely on to do that. He's also got Kyle Shanahan, who is an elite offensive mind. And, I think Kyle's just craved this quarterback that he could mold into his Steve Young, his Montana, his Garcia. Unlike what Harbaugh couldn't do with Colin Kaepernick, I think there's a lot more Play-Doh to play with Brock Purdy. And also, something that no one's really brought up unless you've been looking at like on the social media in the Bay. Jimmy Garoppolo has spent a lot of time with Brock Purdy, like a lot of time off the field as well as on the field. And I think, again, even though Jimmy is injured, and even though I will be the quickest person to slight against Jimmy Garoppolo, but again, having that just offensive ear, that experience, someone that got to the playoffs, someone that's got to a Super Bowl, that's someone that's actually won a Super Bowl for another team as a backup, but someone that's been there, I think is helping Brock Purdy because, again, this is why Tom Brady's the GOAT. Tom Brady took over where he's got Bill Belichick, defensive mind coach. I mean, Drew Bledsoe was there to be that kind of like voice of reason to help him and kind of like guide him, give him that support. But Tom Brady was more or less left to be Tom Brady. I think Brock Purdy has a lot more support around him than Thomas. See, Olive just rolled his eyes. Do you disagree with me, mate?
I think I do agree with you, but I think everyone talks about Jimmy Garoppolo and all this, but the person that I think needs the most credit that isn't getting any is Coach Greasy.
Yeah.
I feel like he is not getting.
Is he your
any
quarterback
credit.
coach?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do think that Purdy, and you just went through all the athletes he has on offense, but he also has the number one defense.
Yes, and he's
So
playing like when he was the backup to the backup, he was playing against that defense every single week until Jimmy Garoppolo went down. So he's played against the best. So what are the Cowboys or the Raiders going to put against him that he hasn't found infinitely more? Imagine throwing into double coverage like pass plays with Fred Warner and Jimmy Ward and Hufanga and Thomas and Greenlaw. Yeah. I totally get where you're coming from, and I think that's something that not enough people have mentioned.
Brady did have a defense. He had Ty Law, he had Otis Smith, he had Mike Vrabel, he had Brandon Mitchell and Bobby Hamilton.
He had Lawyer
in the defense.
Lawyer Malloy.
Yeah.
Lawyer Malloy. He had that time a star-studded defense, so you could see why people are making these similarities. But yeah. Difference is, Brock's got that offense. Our best offensive weapon that year was probably Troy Brown.
Yeah.
Who made the Pro Bowl.
Are you sure it wasn't James White?
The James White wasn't even at school.
I know.
Come on.
And anyway, there's
Troy Brown was a wide receiver.
There are three plays I'd like to highlight, and I put this in the chat earlier because I really want to talk about these 3 plays.
Yep.
The first one is just under 2 minutes to play. Elijah Mitchell ran an outside zone. He got the first down, and then he carried on running straight. Once he got the first down, what he should have done is cut inside or gone down.
I'm going to give this to my tight end.
What he shouldn't have done is carried on running and then let himself. Actually, I think he actually stepped out of bounds before he was knocked out of bounds. But that was totally the wrong thing to do, because if he'd gone down, the game was over, iced.
Yeah. I'm going to let my tight end, the former tight end, answer this one.
It's just one of those mysterious plays where you just go, was that designed or was that human error?
I think it was, I have a chance to score in the divisional game.
Yeah. I mean, that motivation shifts from team glory or singular glory. Can I be the reason? Like, are they going to make statues after me? Are they going to be? Is this going to be the play that they look back in, like in the highlight reels? I mean, I don't know. I had that down as going, oh. It's either like in my head I'm going, have you forgot about the clock management, or did you think that would kill the game off? I'm going to go with human error. I generally think that. Another
play that's an example of that. I think it was in the Super Bowl. I think it was the helmet catch game, or it might have been the other one that the Giants won, where a guy was meant to sit down on the 1 yard line, and he just sort of tried to do that and fell into the end zone.
That's happened a couple of times as well.
Was it David Tyrese or not?
It wasn't helmet catch game.
Then it was definitely the Giants in the Super Bowl.
It was the game where Eli Manning. No, well, that was the helmet catch game where Eli Manning should have been sacked. Had literally the whole defensive lineman and all linebackers on him. Somehow managed to scramble out a la Carson Wentz and still managed to hit. Can't think of his name. Who caught on the helmet? And I was like, "You
Was it David Tyrese? I feel like it was.
Can't remember his name.
Anyway, the two other plays I want to talk about are both of the Dalton Schultz plays at the end.
Yep.
The first one, Dak drops back, finds Dalton Schultz. Dalton Schultz runs down the line, gets stopped by Charvarius Ward, and knocked out of bounds. And his forward momentum was stopped clockwise. And Dalton Schultz is a big guy. Charvarius Ward is not that big. I'm not saying he needs to run Charvarius Ward over, but he should have the strength to keep his forward momentum going enough to go out of bounds and stop the clock.
I mean, Charvarius Ward is 6'1", 196 pounds, so he's still fairly solid, mind you.
What's Dalton Schultz though?
Yeah, I get what you mean. I mean, being a former DB, and if you've got a tight end running at you, which I very rarely did because I was more man than zone, it ain't nice. Having a guy who is 4 inches taller than you and nearly 50 pounds bigger than you, you shouldn't be able to stop him.
I'm not saying that he needed to
you're tall, right? Come here, you get low and hold him down. You don't but yeah, I mean, Dalton Schultz should have just gone, get off me.
I'm not saying that he needed to run Charvarius Ward over or anything like that. I'm just saying he should have had the strength to, if you're going to get a bounce, at least keep forward momentum so the clock stops.
Yeah.
And the other
one, I think my former tight end can answer this one as well.
Yeah. The other player I want to talk about is Dalton Schultz nonchalantly stepping out of bounds without having 2 feet down.
Yeah. Again, because I saw that. I think that's human error.
I think he thought his foot hit the ground.
It is human error, but just make sure. Like, he had the space to put his other foot down.
All right, so I think it comes down to in your head where you think your field position is, because it's certain things. Like when I was a goalkeeper as well, I always like you mark on the 6-yard box, you just scrape down where your goal area is in terms of that post. You do it on the 6-yard box. I think it is the same when you're looking to receive, because if you're moving and you've got like a split second, you often sometimes forget how much space you have off of, because you can be prepped, you can get ready to, like, I'm going to run like a 10-yard slant, and then I'm going to be here, and then I can go, and I can kind of go straight ahead. But if you're, what's the best way to say this? Sometimes you can just get caught up in terms of where you actually think you are as opposed to where you actually are. I think he might have thought he had more time than he actually did, or had less. I think it's one of those. I think it's just, again, human error. High profile game, divisional game. Yeah.
I know it's very easy for me to sit here having never played the game and point out.
Oh no, that's absolutely fine. We can armchair tight end all we want.
All of the errors in the game, but they were just 3 I want to talk about because of the clock management, and then the last play was a bit.
Yeah.
Oh, what are you doing?
Interesting. I'm going to go with.
Before we quickly finish, because I know we're over the hour mark. We mentioned briefly earlier about the strength of the NFC East, and how the strength of the NFC East and how like 3 teams made the playoffs. I generally think this Cowboy team is going to be ripped apart in the offseason because they are probably going to they're bleeding cap. Like this was Jerry's win it all season. They've got a lot of players that are going to be paid a lot of money, or expect to be paid a lot of money. I think this iteration of the Dallas Cowboys championship run, that door is closed completely on them. Like really, really it is. Yeah, I think they might even look to move on from Dak. Not next season, but I think that's it.
Pollard's hitting free agency. I think Zeke's hitting free agency.
I think Zeke might have I think Zeke
Zeke's
might
got
have.
2 more years.
Yeah, I was going to say his contract is very close to Dak's because they are BFFs in real life. I think they want to
Because
stay the
I
same.
read something saying that it might be Zeke's last snap for the Cowboys.
I wouldn't be surprised if he gets traded. It depends if he's got a
No.
no trade clause. I'd be
They need
surprised if he does.
they need to play CD Lamb this year
Yes.
because he was the same draft as Ayuk, I think.
Yep.
Yep.
So I think Ayuk's gonna get paid this year, and I think
Yeah.
Lamb's
I mean,
gonna-
that wide receiver core is insane for that year,
Yes.
isn't it? Like Jefferson, Ayuk,
Mm.
and CD. And Ayuk's not even the best one to be drafted out of that class. And that's insane considering that one is in the championship game.
And I'm not sure about Gallup, but they're paying
Yeah.
Dak a
Players
lot for
that are hitting free agency: Schultz, Noah Brown. No, sorry, Anthony Brown, Dante Fowler, Anthony Barr. Big names. Noah Brown is another one. He's a could be a good wide receiver for them. Cooper Rush, T.Y. Hilton, Tony Pollard, and the goat of kickers, Brett Maher.
Maher is a good kicker. This is the thing.
I know, I'm just taking the mic.
He's a good kicker, and I'm glad he made those 2 field goals in the second half. But he seemed to have the yips.
Yeah.
I mean, I know
it's
that
thing,
field.
it's
I know that field goal was
confidence thing,
blocked.
isn't it?
I know that field goal was blocked, but it was going wide. It was going wide. I'm convinced.
CD Lamb hits free agency next year, and Zeke the following year, I think. Zeke and Dak both next year, and Micah Parsons.
Yeah, but
CD Lamb's going to be restricted free agency next year, and the year after he's going to be unrestricted free agency.
Parsons and Lamb actually should both have a 5th-year option now due to their first-round pick.
Yeah, they will do. Yeah,
and actually, so should Brandon
Club
Ayuk.
options.
So should Brandon Ayuk. And that's, to be fair, that's going to need to be announced pretty soon when they're picking it up or not.
It's normally the start. It's normally when they go back to training camp, isn't it? They mention it.
Yeah.
The one play that I've seen it a couple of times. I've seen a few different angles of it. Turpin literally trying to spin into Robbie Gold. It was like he was auditioning for Dancing with the Stars, and instead of going right, okay, my gunner there has got, well, not my gunner, my blocker has got that guy there, whoever the guy is to the right of Robbie Gold.
Yeah.
I'm going left to go around past Robbie Gold because he ain't going to catch me because he's literally going to do a 180 turn. I'm going to run up to him, spin, and go. And Robbie Gold's like,
a kicker should never need to make a tackle, in my opinion.
No, and this is why when I saw that tackle, I mean, like, he went in, not even shoulder, he literally went in like that with his back to him. It looked like he tackled him using his own back.
Yeah,
but I hate unless you're Pat McCaffrey, I hate watching kickers and punters tackle because Robbie Gold is nearly a pensioner, and it's the equivalent of nearly Tom Brady tackling a runner.
Earlier this season, he made a tackle and got injured for a game and a half.
Exactly. And that's what I do not want to see from my gold standard of kickers. Okay, because he has been amazing. He is
28 in the
like Vinatieri was. Belichick used to call him money in the bank. I think he did. Like, it was just basically you can rely on him. He's never going to miss. And Vinatieri had an amazing NFL career. Robbie Gold is the exact same. Yeah, he's exact same. Robbie Gold is phenomenal. And to think, before Shanahan came in, he was looking to be traded away from the 49ers. I think it was like the Bears that he nearly went to. And obviously Shanahan came in, revamped the team, and he's now going back to his 3rd NFC Championship game in 6 years. And it's insane.
Don't forget about Phil Dawson, the kicker beforehand. He was a pensioner.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh my God, yeah. And Akers was the kicker before then as well. We just have a penchant for like picking really, really old players to be our kickers, but then kickers are like goalkeepers. They'll just keep going on and on and on and on and on.
Yeah. Unless you're Zlatan.
But did you notice though when the Cowboys came out onto the field, Gold was practicing kicks as they were coming out? Because like where they were running through the tunnel onto the field, you literally see using like the sky cam, Gold is practicing kicks in the direction of the Cowboys coming onto the field.
Yeah, he
Shit house,
I
Red
like his pre-match
he,
warm-up.
he was
Yeah.
he talked about this actually. I was watching an interview, and he said the only one I did on purpose was the Rams. The only time I practiced kicks through traffic on purpose was the Rams. And also, did you see when Mayo was warming up? Both Debo and Trent Williams went and just warmed up right in front of him so he couldn't practice kicks.
Yeah.
Shithousery at its best.
It wins, and the 49ers are back to the championship game. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Right. Let's say goodnight, ladies and gentlemen.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen.
It is, yeah. We have had. It's been, because we've only had 4 games to talk about, we've gone on quite a bit, which is great. And there's no arguing.
No.
Interesting. And on that note, we will be back Thursday for our Thursday night show, 8:30 live on Facebook and YouTube. Come along, give us a chat, give us a wave, and we will see you Thursday at 8:30.
I do wonder what the preview show will be talking about.
No idea. Stay safe, all.